Quick warning guys, I'm not that guy. If you're looking for an expert, you know, one of those tight vest wearing dudes that make their pecs sort of confusing for heterosexual men. I mean, they look a little bit like boobs, but I'm not supposed to like them, am I? And they look a bit hard and funny. One working hand because the other is occupied with one of them oversized protein beaker things.
And an unnecessarily deep voice to emphasise the sweet manly gains that define his masculinity, and therefore his status as an alpha, then yeah, that ain't me.
But what I can offer you is my experiences over the last 5 weeks. What I've learned, what I've implemented to allow myself to lose over a stone in 5 weeks, and how I think I'm doing it in a way that's going to be healthy long term for me. Before I reveal all the secrets that's made me slightly less tubby, just wanted to say that thank you for all the lovely messages that everyone has sent, and people seem to enjoy the last video, that sort of weight loss journey video. So if you want to go and check that out, then there's a card here, or there's a link somewhere, or look, you understand YouTube, go and check it out. And if you're new to the channel and you're an XO man, then why not hit that subscribe button as we get even closer. So close now to the Wembley Cup. Of course, I'm going to be reacting to the game, or hopefully the 2 games and the victory at the Wembley Cup on November 25th. And I'm also going to be showing the stats from a friendly that XO played just last week. So stick around, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully you get some enjoyment out of it. I got married last year and got in decent shape for it. And I was down to 72 kg. But over the next year, I had totally lost my way. Getting tubbier and tubbier. That does feel like the right word for it. Is it chubby or tubby? Yeah, I think it was more tubby really. The group stage of the Wembley Cup you will be seeing right now, of course, on Spencer's channel, but you won't be seeing much of me in that because in the group stage I hurt my hamstring, and so I was able to play the first half of the win against F2, but then after that I had to come off and I wasn't able to play again. And part of that was probably a lack of fitness. Part of it was actually trying to kind of get myself moving again and get some fitness. But I realised when I looked around at those other teams, I needed to get myself fucking into gear.
Sharpish.
To allow myself to keep up with the opposition when it came to the running. So as I was thinking about it, I was talking to my mate Craig, who'd lost a lot of weight over a sort of slow period that he didn't even realise that he'd done it. And when I chatted to him about it, the thing that he said mattered the most was not as much the exercise, it was actually what you were putting in your gob. So week 1, it was about preparation, especially people who are working, who are busy during the day. Often you're going to go and just buy something quick because it's easy. It's so hard, I think, for people to eat healthily if they don't make it beforehand. What I was able to do was I was able to, like, in the evenings, cook a load of chicken or cook some like turkey mince bolognese, and I was able to have that with something every single day. It allowed me to sort out my portion control. It made me know that I was putting good healthy stuff in my body. Because the thing is, we have cravings, don't we? And so at 11 o'clock when you go to prep, you see the almond croissant there and you think, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. So having some food there allowed me to know that I was gonna eat something decent at lunchtime and that I just needed to get to that point. So I'm not gonna piss about, I'm just gonna give you the secrets of how I figured this out, what worked for me, and how I got the job done basically. And the way I got it done was I went onto the internet and I started looking at different videos, and one phrase kept coming up that I kept seeing again and again, and it's something that I was initially a little bit worried about, but then I thought maybe this is the way I can do it. It was those 2 words, intermittent fasting. The word fasting felt quite scary to me.
Please, sir, I want some more.
But when I looked at what I needed to do and the fact that I needed to lose some weight, the bottom line, it's so simple. It's about a calorie deficit. Burn off more calories than you put into your gob and you will lose some weight. Now there's a few ways that you can do intermittent fasting, and there's a few ways that you can slowly progress intermittent fasting, which I was able to do it quite easily. Sort of, kind of easily. I'll explain that in a second. The method that I used was that you're going to have a 16/8 method. So for 16 hours you're not going to eat anything, and then for 8 hours you will be able to eat. A lot of people actually do 18 hours, so they will eat from noon till 6 p.m. and then they won't eat for the other hours. For me, that doesn't work because I like having dinner with my missus. I like going out for dinner with people as well. So what's the theory behind intermittent fasting? So from what I've seen, and look, if I get this wrong, then let me know in the comments below. The big thing about intermittent fasting, it's about allowing your body to break down and utilize its metabolism at its best. When you first break your fast, when you first eat something, it sets off your metabolism. It sets off your metabolism for about 12 hours, it'll be at its optimum. But if you're eating after those 12 hours, then your body's not going to be able to break stuff down well enough. And you're not giving it enough time on the other side of the fence or the other side of sleeping for you to then break down your food properly enough. So that's the idea of it really. Your insulin levels lead to how well your metabolism works and how well it breaks down fat. Of course, there's that basic element of a calorie deficit, but when you then are eating, you're eating for a certain period of time and it's giving you enough time to break down that food as efficiently as possible. So this is how I was able to do it. Let's look at it this way, right? You got your morning, you got your afternoon, and of course, you got the evening. Say we wake up at 7, we've got to hang on till 12. Then we can eat, and then we can eat up until 8. The big thing was psychological. If you can break it down, if you can break down what you're doing, give yourself little goals as you're going along, literally through the day, then you've got a really good chance. What I realized quite quickly was that all I needed to do was get through the morning. The reason for that is here I'm hungry, I'm gonna have hunger pains and I'm gonna need to be able to get through that. So how do I get through that? Because by the time I get to 12, I can then have some food. Life is good. And by the time it's the evening, I should have had a decent meal before 8 o'clock and I've got the rest of the evening where really I should be able to hang on pretty easy. So the key area is this morning period, because sometimes you will get hunger pains. Hunger pains, they come, but they don't get any worse and they do pass. There's a lot of studies on this that when you have a hunger pain, regardless of if you haven't eaten for a day or an hour or whatever it is, it will pass. There'll be a moment where it's at its peak and then it will go. And learning that was a huge thing for me because I realized that, okay, maybe I'm just thirsty, maybe I need a black coffee just to get me going again, but I need to hang in there and it will pass. You can have black coffee because that doesn't spike your insulin, and you can have green tea as well. So if you're working or whatever you're doing, one way of beating the hunger, one way of conquering the fasting, be busy. Do shit. Second one is, are you actually thirsty? Have a big bottle of water with you, because often I've realized that, and I never knew that actually a lot of the time I'm not even hungry, I'm just thirsty. And you get a taste for that water because sometimes you do just need something in your mouth. Don't get used to black coffee, because the black coffee for me was a treat. Often there was a period between 9 and 11 where I really struggled. Having that or a green tea almost as your treat, I know it sounds ridiculous, but having it as your treat between 9 and 11, the later the better, of course. But if you're able to do that, then again you can break down the difficulty and the hunger pains, because you have your green tea that fills you up with a lot of water or black coffee or whatever, and then you look at the clock, it's 11 a.m. Come on, you've worked so hard to get to 11 a.m. You can hang on for another hour, and 9 times out of 10 times out of 10, I was able to. When you get to the afternoon, then life is good. Once I got to the afternoon, I knew I was going to have a decent meal that's not just a salad either. I was having rice a lot. I was having like a hearty lunch, and then if I was hungry after that, I'd have a bit of pineapple. Got really into pineapple because it's so sweet. And when you want something that's a bit of a treat, that's a cracking option. Get yourself some pineapple. Get on it if you haven't got it before. Pineapple's decent. Then when you get to the evening, you've got that evening meal that you're allowed. You can still have your life. You don't have to be an absolute knob end. And you need to be smart, but you're full. You're fine. 7 hours at least, maybe even 8 hours of your fast are already taken up in that sleep period. On to the exercise bit, and again I went to YouTube to look at some clips of what could work for me, because the thing that's been a problem for me always, bit motivation, and secondly my recovery. Often I'd go for it, I'd feel really stiff, and then I'd leave it the next day because I knew it was going to hurt again. And I was on the Joe Rogan Clips YouTube channel, and I came across this guy, Firas Zahabi. Now he's a trainer. He trains MMA fighters, and he was talking to Joe Rogan about how to work out smarter, and the video was a revelation.
So let's say I'm feeling like a 7 out of 10. 10 being I'm really like energized. 1, I was like really lethargic, feeling like I need to lay down. And 7, I'm feeling good. Okay? If I get up and I do a right amount of exercise, the right amount, I can feel like an 8.5. Exercise can give me a tonic effect, like drinking this coffee. Once you get that high, shut it down. Don't go into the phase where your body's beat up, tight, broken up. Don't redline the body. Imagine training was addictive. Everybody would train, everybody would be fit. But people always go into anxiety. They go and they kill, they slam their body. Then I have to convince you to do it again 3 days later, 2 days later. And you're like, dude.
He was talking about this philosophy that he deeply, deeply believes in, and I now do as well, little and often. I've never really enjoyed going and just like absolutely killing myself. I like going, doing a decent amount, getting out of there, feeling good about myself. And that's exactly what this guy was talking about. It's about volume. If you have a guy who does all he can in terms of pull-ups, 10 pull-ups on the Monday, but he can't do Tuesday and Wednesday and he's back in the gym on the Thursday. He's done 10 pull-ups. If you have a guy who can do 10 at his max, you let him do 5, but he does 5 on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday. He's ahead of the guy before. So volume is the massive, massive thing here, because it allows you to not feel sore. It allows you to feel good about yourself. You walk out of the gym feeling good about yourself. And that's what I did. So I would go to the gym for 20 minutes. I would go to the gym for 40 minutes. I would go to the gym just because I knew I had a certain period of time that I could do it in. And then it led to me feeling better, feeling more confident, feeling more motivated, and therefore wanting to go back to the gym again. So this is the massive, massive thing for me that I've never really thought about. That so often, and a million times I've done this, I've gone, it's not even worth it now. If I go now, I'll only be there for like 45 minutes. That is nonsense. It's about volume. Go do 20 minutes hard work on the sit-up machine or on your arms or whatever, or just do your legs. That 20 minutes adds up. If you do 20 minutes every day, then at the end of the week, you'll be doing so much more than you were doing by just grinding it out and being there, and it's a much more enjoyable experience. The second thing for me was about running. I needed to get running, and I needed to feel good about that as well. And sometimes I think you need a push when it comes to running. So what I implemented here was an A to B kind of theory when it came to that. So I ran home from the kickoff, I ran home from work, did that 2 or 3 times a week, and then in between that I had football training, and of course I was doing some weights and bits and pieces like that as well. And that all put together was enough volume to allow me to generally be going over 3,000 calories each day. So when you pair that up, over 3,000 calories so often, wearing a Fitbit, making sure I get past 10,000 steps at the very least, doing a run each day, even if you can only do 4K of that run because you've had training the next day, do something. The volume is what's going to get you where you want to be and what's going to make you feel good, and you're not even going to feel sore the next day. So that is a huge thing that I would advise anyone to do. With this whole thing, I haven't counted calories at all. I've just stuck to that intermittent fasting. I've looked to do that, and when I've needed to give myself a break, especially at the weekend, and have breakfast with my wife or my friends or whatever it is, I've gone and done that. I've had the odd drink. There's been events that you don't want to be that guy who goes, no, sorry, I can't. The discipline that you put into the week allows you to give yourself a break when it comes to the weekend. That discipline leads to freedom. So as I said at the start of the video, I am definitely not an expert. These are just my experiences. A few of you guys wanted to know what exactly I'd done. Ultimately, it's so simple. Calorie deficit leads to losing weight. You know, I've tried to make it complicated in the past, but actually it's not. Step into it and understand that all those hunger pains, they do pass, because that's the big one as well. If you are new to the channel and you haven't seen my last 2 videos in regard to the Wembley Cup, which is coming up very, very soon, go check out my video talking about signing for XO, and of course the weight loss journey video as well. I'll put a link in the description, or you can find it yourself on the side, I'm sure. If you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button. More videos coming up on the Wembley Cup and beyond. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you soon.